in my phone here. All right, let's see. Are we really live, Michael? I better turn. Oh yeah, we're live. I got to turn my audio down here. Sorry, folks. Anyhow, you see me sitting in a really weird place. I am in a hotel room in Wyoming because we are out here hunting, and we thought we were going to be able to get coverage to do a remote broadcast, and we couldn't. So we had to come into town, rent this little hotel room tonight, and it doesn't even have Wi-Fi. But at least we're close enough to cell coverage, and we're set up and we're ready to go. But we have been in Wyoming for a long time. We've been here last week and this week, and that's why we couldn't get to you last week. We were way back in the Wind River Range. So anyhow, welcome to episode 17 or 18 of Elk Talk Live. Brought to you by a lot of great companies, Bowtech, Leupold, Onyx Maps, Tight Spot, Ripcord, Black Gold, Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. I hope I haven't missed anybody. But it is elk season, right? Last week we couldn't do this because when we were out elk hunting, cameraman Marcus had an elk tag. I had an elk tag. We used llamas. A lot of the questions we've had in the past were about llamas. We used them. There's a guy, Bo Beatty. He owns Wilderness Ridge Trail Llamas in Idaho Falls, Idaho. We took 7 of his llamas in there, and it is, man, all I can say is it added about 15 years to my backcountry elk hunting opportunities. So I'm thankful for that. But the real cool part is Marcus shot a bull opening morning. We got blizzarded out, so we went in on Monday, scouted Monday night, scouted Tuesday. Opening morning, Marcus shot a bull, and it had been snowing since Tuesday. Snowed on Wednesday, snowed on Thursday, snowed on Friday. Finally we just packed up and left. It was so bad, and but we still got a bull out of it. And I know you've heard us talk about the 5 calendar periods of elk hunting. Well, opening day out there in Wyoming, that was September 20th. And because some of these remote areas you get to hunt with a rifle, we were rifle hunting. Well, peak rut, rifle hunting, the downside was it was so crunchy because a really wet snow had come on Thursday or Tuesday. That night it got down like 18 degrees and it was just crunch, like walking on ice. So my idea that, oh boy, we're going to be able to call and sneak in on them, couldn't do it. It was just too noisy. So we set up, and some of you had asked in the past about cold calling, and sometimes I do it. What we did is we hiked into an area nearest the best food I could possibly find on the map, and we set up and I started cow calling. And the idea was if I cow called, maybe we would hear a bull and we could get in position to shoot him. Well, within about a half hour of cow calling, Michael, the one camera guy who's with us tonight, he's like, here comes a bull and he's running right at us. And well, there's so much commotion going on trying to get the camera ready and Marcus getting the rifle ready. The bull turns and he stops out there. Marcus shoots, boom, one shot, done. Point of all that is, the reason we were successful is we looked at what's the calendar period we were going to be hunting elk. We were going to be there in peak rut. Well, where do you find elk during the peak rut? You find them with the cows. Where do you find cows any time of year? Where the best food is. So even though this area was a lot of dark timber, I went to areas where the canopy of dark timber had kind of been broken by rocks, by changes in the terrain, some small burns, not anything big, some creeks and lakes, just anything to make the canopy open up so you can get feed inside there. And that is where the cows were. Cows were there, the bulls were there. We shot one. And I'm pretty sure if it wouldn't have been whiteout blizzard for the next 2 days, we probably would have filled both tags. So, but the llamas are amazing. They helped us haul that elk out, our camp out. Call Bo. I mean, it's unbelievable. So, what do we got for questions, Michael?
Somebody wants to know what pack you used on the Nevada deer hunt.
Someone wants to know what pack I was using on my Nevada deer hunt. I think that you were probably watching our YouTube day-by-day show where I think we started that September 1st. We were out hunting in late August. We got it edited, rolled it up on our YouTube channel, and a lot of you were like, is that the new Mystery Ranch Metcalf in a subalpine pattern? Yep, that's what it was. It was a Mystery Ranch Metcalf in the new Sitka subalpine pattern. So I've been using Metcalfs forever, ever since they came out with them. Great, great pack. What else? Oh, bipod or shooting sticks? I'm a bipod guy. When I'm mountain hunting, I'm not using a bipod. When I'm out, like we're here in Wyoming, we've been antelope hunting. And oh, by the way, today our buddy Jim, and you're going to get to see this on TV, he shot this humongous antelope. We had to scramble back to town, and we just barely got here in time to get everything set up. Jim's out on the tailgate right now, finishing up the quartering. I was out there helping him, ran up here. But anyhow, the point of that is, when we're antelope hunting and deer hunting, we're using bipods. Usually. Not always, but usually. But elk hunting, seldom are we using bipods. And I've just never grown accustomed to shooting sticks. I know guys who are really, really good with them. We did a YouTube video out on our YouTube channel about shooting rests. Go and watch that. Maybe it'll be helpful to you.
I know it's early. With this crazy weather in Montana, does snow make the elk move to lower elevation during the rut, same as it does in the late season?
So the question is, in Montana, we've had a bunch of early snow already. Does that force the elk to move lower for the rut than the same as it does in the late migration season? Is that the question?
Yes. Does it affect them the same way?
Does snow in September affect them the same way it does in November and December? No, it doesn't. In fact, the amount of snow that we have right now in Montana, I think there's 5 to 8 inches in the mountains. Not even going to phase an elk. An elk will graze through that. They know that the likelihood is we're going to get a warm stretch in September or October, and a lot of that's going to melt off. Once you start getting snow that sticks and then freezes and thaws, it's harder for them to paw through it. That's when they're going to start moving, and that usually happens in November. It can happen in October. But September storms usually are not going to move elk the way that the later November type snow is. So,
what food do you pack for long trips, meals at camp / for the day? What
food do I pack for long trips, meals at camp, and for the day? So when we were in Wyoming last week, everything was Mountain House. You cannot backpack hunt and carry regular food. You got to have dehydrated food. So that's what we were doing there. If you go to our YouTube channel, we've done a bunch of videos about how we make meals at home, bring them to elk camp, and then we freeze them at home in vacuum sealed bags. Then we just put them in a pot of boiling water. 10 minutes, that water boils, open up the vacuum sealed pack, homemade lasagna, homemade chili, whatever. Just perfect stuff. As far as my day pack, I always eat a breakfast. To me, I know I'm going to be hiking right away in the morning to get to my glassing spot usually, or chasing bugles depending on the time of year. So I'm always eating a breakfast. It might be, again, a Mountain House. If it's a camp meal, it's going to be some sort of high energy cereals. And then with me, I'm going to carry trail mixes. I'm probably going to carry something with a little bit of protein, some dried fruit, and then probably some sort of quick energy bar. Might even be a Snicker bar. So let's see, did I get my InReach? Okay, someone heard that I was talking about getting an InReach. Yeah, I did. I got the Garmin InReach before we went on the elk hunt last week, and it's pretty slick. The guy we were with, Bo Beatty, he has a higher level of service. I signed up for like the minimum level of service thinking, well, if I'm going to need some sort of rescue back there, that's about all I need. I'm not into texting and letting everybody know what I'm up to in the backcountry, but Bo, he's had one for quite a while, the guy we were with last week who we rented the llamas from, and he's really got the InReach dialed in. I can see it's going to be a very valuable tool. I think that the camera crew is going to do a lot better because I've had 4 major blood clots since 2004, and when I was telling the camera crew, oh yeah, if I get a blood clot, here's the sign and here's what we got to do, They're like, really? Can we get an InReach? So we have one. What kind of trekking poles do I use? I use Leaky or Lecky. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. It's Leki. Cork-Lite are the ones that I use, and they're aluminum. And don't get the twist grip. Get the binder clip grip. A lot of people say, oh, I love the twist grip. Well, a couple things with that. Usually when you're hauling big loads and you got to jam that thing in there, I've had the twist clips slide and give in more than I have the binder clips. The other part is if you're hiking in a lot of wet snow, those binder clips or those twist clips will freeze where you can't get them to move, to adjust them in any way, shape, or form. Because when you're going uphill, you want them a little shorter. When you're going downhill, you want them a little longer, right? Or if you're side hilling a lot, your downhill one might be longer and your uphill one might be shorter. So if you get the twist ones, a lot of times when you got a lot of snow and ice, that'll mess you up. So get the binder clip ones. All right.
You got any tips for getting bloodstains out of backpacks?
Any tips for getting bloodstains out of backpacks? I don't know what kind of pack you have, but for me, with our Mystery Ranch packs, they get to be such a mess because we're carrying quarters in them. We take them down to the car wash. You hang them on, you know where you hang the floor mats on the car wash, and you hit them with the high power spray. That's all you got to do with the Mystery Ranch. Hang the bag up there. Done. That's all you got to do to clean the ones that we use. I don't know what kind of pack you have, but if it's got a really heavy-duty Cordura type fabric to it, you should be able to just drill it with a car wash at high pressure.
What is your favorite elk recipe right after the harvest?
My favorite elk recipe right after the harvest. All right, so you're going to see this on YouTube coming up. Everyone knows I love to eat heart. I did a bunch of episodes last year where I shot an antelope and I just cut it up and I ate the heart right out in antelope camp. So we did a YouTube piece on that. When Marcus shot this bull last week, we took the heart and we took the tongue. I'd never eaten tongue. What we did is we took the tongue, we boiled it, and then you can kind of peel. It's almost like peeling a cucumber. You can peel the white layer that boils off there. And then put it in some really great spices and olive oils. So right after the harvest, I would say heart is my favorite thing. Oh, here's the other thing we did. Marcus, I'd never done this before. We cut a tenderloin out of that elk. Marcus goes over to this fire we'd built. He lets this flat rock, get really hot. He slides it up next to the fire. And we just threw that tenderloin on that hot rock and let it cook. Oh my gosh. No spices, no anything. Just the tenderloin. It was fantastic. So I'll back up. My post-harvest favorite meal is going to be tenderloin, then heart. The tongue, it was okay. I wasn't that excited about it. It's got a real rubbery, I don't know what you'd call it. It's like eating calamari or something. It's kind of, yeah, you got to try it. Some people love it, though. All right. What else we got?
When does calling elk bulls become ineffective, and when does this happen? Is it better to and when this happens, is it better to cow call or not call at all?
So, when does bugling for bulls become ineffective? Once it becomes ineffective, is it better to cow call? I don't know that it's ever any less effective than cow calling. That's been my experience. I would say as long as there's some rut activity going on, don't hesitate to be bugling. But if you're more comfortable call calling and that's what's brought you success, do that. But I don't think there's a period where, quit bugling and just cow call. I've never experienced that. Maybe others have, but in my hunting, that's not anything I've ever experienced. So how do you adjust the way you hunt during the different moon phases? I don't. I'm sorry. I hunt the same way no matter what the moon phase is. And I don't care if it's the rut in September, if it's the post-rut in October, or if it's late season in November. I hunt the same way, whether it's new moon to full moon and all the quarter moons in between.
Can rutting bulls go nocturnal like deer? If so, should we hunt them if they're how should we hunt them if they're not calling?
Do rutting bulls ever go nocturnal like white-tailed deer? Not. I can't really say compared to white-tailed deer because I've never hunted. I've shot 20-some white-tailed bucks, but I've never seen them go quote-unquote nocturnal during the hunting season, during the rut. Bulls don't quote-unquote go nocturnal. They do what they got to do, and they have to moderate in September. They have to moderate their activity levels. So you might see a lot of the rutting happening at night if it's really hot. If it's not really hot, you'll see them rutting all day long. Later in the season, they kind of go not nocturnal, the other way around. Well, yeah, I guess you'd call that nocturnal. Their activity is at night. But that's just a function of late season and post rut. They're going to be in the sanctuary areas. They're going to be out for that first half hour to hour in the morning. They're not coming out until that last hour to half hour at night. If you want to call that nocturnal, I guess that's what it is. But that's just, since hunting pressure started, that's how bull elk respond on public land in the post rut and in the late season. So, do I ever use horses or mules? No, I don't. I don't know anything about horses and mules. I grew up in a logging family. I'd be better off using a skidder than I would horses or mules. I know people who do use them and they have great luck with them. Horses, no, I'm not comfortable around them, and they run me through the trees, under the limbs. I'm going to get hurt if I'm on a horse in the mountains, so I just, I don't use them, so.
Can you take an elk head out of Colorado?
Can you bring an elk head home from Colorado? No, because Colorado has CWD. Colorado is an endemic place of chronic wasting disease, and I would bet any money if you read the regs for your home state, I know my home state of Montana, for Wyoming, for states you'd have to travel through, you cannot bring a head back because it has brain tissue and spinal tissue. So if you go to Colorado elk hunting, have a way to boil your head. You've seen us do that before, like we were in Nevada last year, we boiled our heads at camp. Or you're just going to have to crown it and take the skull cap with the antlers, or you're going to have to leave it with a local taxidermist. We've done that many times before also. And there's been times where we've borrowed the boiling pot from a buddy who let us boil a head before we headed home. So, let's see. Can you recommend any over-the-counter tags or units for elk in Oregon? I wish I could, but I've not hunted elk in Oregon. It's one of the few states I've not hunted elk, but Roosevelt elk are on my list. I've seen that's been here a couple times about wanting to come to Oregon. Are the fires in Montana extinguished yet? Yes, they are done. It's amazing and depends on what data you look at. Supposedly, 2017 was the driest summer in Montana since 1910. 1910 was the year of the big fire in northern Idaho and in northwest Montana. This was also the worst fire year since 1910. All of a sudden, we get some rain that turns to snow and you get 4 or 5 days of it. That does a whole lot to put out fires. Low temperatures, high humidity and moisture. So, yeah, thankfully our fires are out in Montana right now. So, come hunting if you have a tag. What type of game bags do I use for elk? I use these ones called caribou game bags. You've seen me when I've done this Elk Talk Live in my shop. I went and grabbed some to show you. They come in the orange and black bag. They're synthetic. And the reason I use synthetic is it wicks moisture way faster. It's way tougher. It doesn't have that cheesecloth type fabric where when you hang a quarter in it, it sags and the fabric stretches the mesh in it. And now a fly can get in there and lay eggs. And those larvae become maggots and you end up with ruined meat. So I always use synthetic game bags. Plus they're reusable time and time. I mean, I've got game bags that I give a lot of them to friends. And the reason is, hey, you want this critter? Yeah, sure. So they keep the game bags and they're using them for many, many years. So Caribou game bags are based in Colorado. Really, really good product. So All right, you got anything over there?
Yeah, so somebody wanted to know how quickly will you hunt after an area burns? So like,
How quickly will I, we've answered this quite a few times. How quickly will I hunt after an area burns? I might hunt it that fall if the burn was early in the summer. If not, any moistures come or the burn was too late in the year, I will hunt it the next year. For sure the next year. So if you could hunt with anyone living or past, who would it be? Odds are it's going to be my dad, since he's passed, or my grandpa, either my grandfather's or my Uncle Elton. Anyone living who I could hunt with, it's going to be my son, Matthew. Just trust me, when you get to be my age, you will give anything to go on hunts with your children or to have that one last hunt with your father or your mother or whoever was your hunting mentor. Some of you watching still have your parents alive. Make a point, go at least 1 day, 2 days this year, and they might slow you down. Maybe their health and they're kind of infirm as age is taking their health. Take them hunting. Trust me. There will be some day when you say, I wish I could go deer hunting with my dad one more time. And you won't be able to because they'll be gone. So that's how it would be for me.
When hunting in grizzly country, you talk about staying away from areas where grizzlies are. How do you know where those areas are?
I always talk about when I hunt in grizzly country, I try to stay away from the area grizzlies will be. Where are those areas? Well, it depends on the time of year. They're going to be in certain places in September and different places in October and different places in early November. Hopefully they're going to be hibernated by early to mid-November. So you have to understand about grizzly bears, and it's not something I can just answer in 2 seconds. As a general rule, during the day, you know that the bears are going to be bedded. They're going to be bedded in the thicker stuff. They're going to be bedded near berries. Don't go into a really thick patch of berries on a north-facing slope if you can avoid it, if you're in thick grizzly country. If you're seeing lots of fresh scat on a trail or on a closed road or something, don't go in there. The best way to not have a grizzly problem is to do all you can to avoid an encounter. That's how I do it. And I can't say that it's not ever going to happen. Odds are someday it's going to happen. And then everyone's going to say, see that Newberg, he doesn't know anything about hunting in grizzly country. But so what else we got, Michael?
The easy to pack thin decoys or three-dimensional decoys, are they a waste of money and time?
Easy to pack easy to pack thin decoys or the three-dimensional decoys. Never the three-dimensional decoys for elk hunting. I mean, elk hunting, you're walking 10, 12 miles a day. You don't have the time, the energy, the capacity on your back to carry a three-dimensional decoy. The thin ones that kind of roll out, pop out, I think they're made by Montana Decoy, Heads Up Decoy. There's probably a couple others that make them. I've not used them for elk. I've used them for other things. But when I'm elk hunting, there is so much stuff in my pack for production purposes, for the idea that, you know what, I'm going to get one on the ground. I got to have all my tools, everything else, water, food, survival stuff, extra clothes. I can't bother with carrying a decoy. So I wish I could tell you that it really works one way or the other, but I really don't know. Someone says, what's that big watch? What you wearing? It's a Sunto Traverse. I've been using it now for about a year. It's a really good watch. I used to go through Timex watches, you know, those $50, $60 ones, about 2 a year. So I ended up, well, actually I got this one given to me by Sitka Gear. So, all right. Have you ever been stalked by a cougar or a bear while calling an elk? No. But one time I think I called in a bear. I was hunting in grizzly country, and there's this crown to the trail, and I'd been calling some elk up above me, and they took off running. And so I come walking, and when I get right to the crown of the trail, I look, and here's a great big grizzly bear coming this way. I think I might have been calling him in. Fortunately, he saw me and he took off down the hill. And once I saw he was gone, I went on a fast trot back to my truck and went home and watched football that day. So, yeah, it can happen.
Any pointers on convincing elk to leave private property?
Any pointers on convincing elk to leave private property? No, I don't really have any pointers to convince them to leave. They're going to leave when they feel capable, ready, wanting to leave. If there's hunting pressure on the private, a lot of times they will leave. And on my e-scouting videos, I've talked about using boundary as your friend. So if this is public and that's private, a lot of times the pressure here on private will push them to public. And most often, the people right here that are hunting the public, they don't want to hunt right up to the boundary. So OnX Maps is one of the great companies that's supporting this whole project here, this Elk Talk Live. They make the tool that I use. And so what I'll do, I'll hike in here, I'll put my back up against whatever this boundary is and hope that if elk are coming to go to private, I'll shoot, whether it's bow or rifle, and they'll go back that way. A lot of times I will also sit a ways off the boundary and sit up here in glass, and you'll be surprised how many times elk will come off private because of the hunting pressure here and come over to public, and you'll have your opportunity. You just have to be patient when you're hunting these boundaries and know that, hey, guess what? A lot of times I'm not going to be able to do it. So before I get too far along, when you want to get signed up for prizes, be notified about everything with the Elk Talk Live series, you need to text Randy, R-A-N-D-Y, to 313131, or if you're in Canada, 393939. And I know you hear me keep saying this, but we're putting together some really cool stuff. We've been giving away a few little things lately, but we're about ready to come up with the big kahuna, the big tuna, the big whatever. But be signed up. Randy, text Randy, R-A-N-D-Y, to 313131. Don't text my cell phone with Randy. Okay, because some of you have my cell phone.
How long will you stick with an area you really felt confident in when you started your hunt?
How long will I stick to an area that I really felt confident in before I started my hunt? I'll usually stick with it 2 or 3 days, just because my research, I spend so much time researching, and I'm lucky I get to do this a lot, that I'm pretty confident when I show up, and it takes quite a bit to discourage me. Even though this was an antelope hunt we're here doing right now, there's a lot of analogies to how I hunt antelope to how I hunt elk. We got here 3 days ago, and I knew there were some really good mature bucks in this area. We just had to keep working it, sorting it out. Well, today at about 4 o'clock, my buddy Jim shot a Boone and Crockett antelope. Why? Because we didn't give up on an area that we knew held what we were looking for. Same with elk. I mean, sometimes you just say, you know what? I was wrong. They aren't here. But I will usually give it 2 or 3 days. And I might, when I say 2 or 3 days, I might hunt it today. I'll move to a different area tomorrow, but I'll come back to it the next day. And I might go to a third area on day 4, but I'll come back to it on day 5. So if I have a really key area for elk that is my favorite spot, and it doesn't matter which of the 5 calendar periods, I will stick with it, and I will go out and hunt that at least 2 days, probably 3 days before I give up. Oh, let's see. Any pointers for 16E in Midwestern New Mexico? Yeah, I would go to our YouTube channel. There's a live hunt or semi-live hunt there, a day-by-day hunt from last year that I did with Corey Jacobson. Corey and I went there, 16E, and I think it's 9 days long. And go watch that. It'll give you a few pointers about what you can expect. A lot of rugged country. What type of spotting scope do you use? I have Leupold Gold Rings. I have their 80 millimeter, their 60 millimeter, and their 50 millimeter. Let's see. How much money do you spend on tags every year? Too much. Actually, we spend a lot on licenses and applications because in a lot of states you have to buy a license to even apply. And then we just roll the dice and hope that we draw. And sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. Like this year we'll be hunting either leftover or over-the-counter or general tags in a few places. We always end up, some years we end up with quite a few of them. Some years we end up with just one or two, like this year. This year we lucked out. We drew so many tags this year. It was really lucky between me and family and friends. But we knew that most of us had been building a lot of points. So we knew 2017 was going to be a good tag year. 2018, I think we're going to really, we're going to get a lot of goose eggs because we burned a lot of points this year. So as far as dollar amount, I don't really know what it is, but it's quite a bit to do 12 episodes a year. So am I coming to Colorado this year? No, I'm not. Unfortunately, the calendar has me in Arizona, my normal time when I come for the third season in Colorado. So do I think that bugling will work in the second rifle season in Colorado, or calling? No. In northern Colorado, second rifle season, no, not very well. You might call in some other hunters. Someone says, can I go hunting with you next year? You know, you might get a chance if we put together some sort of sweepstakes or something, but as you can imagine, we get asked that hundreds of times, and they're all great invitations. Wish we could take people up on them, but if you saw what it requires to film and what an imposition we are on your hunt, you probably wouldn't want us tagging along. So, am I hunting Arizona this year? Oh, yeah. Next week, we'll be in Arizona for elk. Then we'll be there in the first part of November for elk. And then we're going to be back. My buddy Jerry Pritchard has a late rifle elk tag. The first week of December, we'll be back. And then if you go out to our YouTube channel, you will see where I did a coos deer hunt, archery coos deer in Arizona last year. I'm doing that the rest of my life. Oh, which reminds me, that just went live on Amazon Prime. If you get a chance, go out to, if you are an Amazon Prime subscriber, we now have seasons 5 and 4, and we're backfilling with 3, 2, and 1. We have full episodes. If you're an Amazon Prime subscriber, you get to watch them for free on Amazon Prime. And if you go and watch them and you like them, I hope you'd leave some positive comments. It is going great for us on Amazon Prime. And we thank all of you who've been watching us. But we just loaded up that coos deer hunt from Arizona up on Amazon Prime. Any pointers on the Bighorn Mountains rifle hunt, October 15th? I've hunted the Bighorns on that October 15th opener twice. Be prepared for a lot of people. Put yourself in a position where the elk want to go. So have a first day plan and have an after first day plan. Go there 2 or 3 days early if you can and scout. Find the elk. And they will be there opening morning, and get up there and be in position to kill that bull opening morning. Once the shooting starts, because the bighorns have pretty heavy hunting pressure for Wyoming, know that the elk are going to move. It's like the whole puzzle just got remixed. Have a plan for after opening day. Go to the places, these sanctuary places the bulls want to head. Be there waiting for them when the pressure pushes them there, and you'll fill your tag. Do elk move as normal in the fog and light rain? It's been my experience that fog and light rain and light snow, elk really don't worry about that. If it's heavy rain and heavy snow, my experience has been they'll kind of tank up for a little while. They'll just lay low, stay put, and then as quick as the weather starts to break, then they'll start moving around again. And actually, if you get a long snow that they that they feel that they got to sit it out, once that breaks, if you can get a little bit of cold weather, man, then you get a lot of elk movement. Best state for grouse this year? Boy, I don't know, but there's a pot full of them in Montana this year. My bow setup. What's my bow setup? I have a Bowtech Rain 7. I have a 29-inch draw length. I have I think, yeah, it's set at 60 pounds. And then my rest, I have a ripcord fall-away rest. I have a black gold sight and tight spot quiver. I have a Carter Quickie release. Trying to think what else would be in my bow set.
Arrows and broadheads. You can shoot east and axis, right?
Yeah. So that's kind of it on my archery setup. What broadhead do I use and why? It's a toss-up between stingers, Magnus stingers, and then Whack'ems. Both are fixed blades. Both are 125 grain. So, how many arrows do I carry in my quiver? 5. 1 grouse arrow, 4 other arrows. My grouse arrow, well, that's that can be a judo point, but if I forgot my judo point, it becomes a broadhead. Okay. What else we got over there?
What's your favorite variable power scope for hunting if you could only pick one?
If I could only pick one variable power scope for hunting, it would be, oh boy, depends on what your budget is. So let's assume that budget isn't the concern. It would be the Leupold VX6 HD. And it would be, depending on how close at quarters I'm hunting, am I trying to save weight, it'd either be the 3-18 or the 2-12. If I didn't quite have that budget and I had to step down, it'd be a VX5. And a VX5, it'd probably be the 3-15. And then if I was trying to get into the highest quality scope I know of for the price, it'd be the Leupold VX3i. And that's a super, super scope. And I'd probably go with just a straight 3-9 on that. So, what else we got? Why do you like the 308 so much for elk? Well, it kills a lot of elk. It can shoot 165, 180 grain bullet. There's a reason that snipers and SWAT teams and other people are very fond of the 308. It's a very efficient cartridge. If you look at it, the amount of powder it holds creates super amount of efficiency downrange relative to other cartridges. Other cartridges, you got to burn a lot more powder to get much, even marginally higher performance than a 308. And you use good bullets. My 308, I have 3 types of bullets. They're either going to be Nosler Accubons, Nosler E-tips, or Nosler partitions. You use high quality bullets in a 308, proper shot placement, and you'll kill every elk that you hit under 400 yards. And I don't shoot at elk over 400 yards. Doesn't matter what rifle I have or what cartridge I'm shooting. So, what distance is your rifle zeroed on? 200 or 300 yards? 100 yards. All mine are zeroed at 100. For me, hunting is about getting as close as I possibly can. So 100 yard zero works just fine for me. So,
if you're into deer when hunting, should you move to find elk, or could they be in the same area?
If you're finding deer while elk hunting, should you be moving to find elk, or could they be in the same area? They could be in the same area throughout all of their seasons. But the likelihood is you're going to find bull elk. If you're looking for bull elk, highly pressured bull elk on public land, you're going to find those in areas where you may not be finding deer. But if you're finding them in the same place, I wouldn't move. I mean, you know what they say in the fishing world, you don't leave fish to find fish. You don't leave elk to find elk. You don't leave deer to find deer. So if they're in the same spot, that's fine. Let's see.
What bino harness are you using? Is your rangefinder integral to your harness? So I'm assuming they're asking, does it attach to your harness?
My bino harness, there's a lot of them out there that made by a lot of companies. The one I use is by FHF Gear, and it's got a rangefinder harness attached to it, not integrated as part of it. So the question is, what do I use? People see me using as my bino harness. What type of boots and gaiters do you prefer? If I wasn't so lazy, if I wasn't tucked into this little hotel, my Kenetrek non-insulated Mountain Extremes are sitting right over there, along with my Kenetrek gaiters. But We just did a whole a series of boot selection, gaiter selection, boot care. We did those with Kenetrek. If you go out to our YouTube channel, you're going to see a bunch of them out there. So, oh, let's see. What else we got?
Why do some bulls seem to have a lazy bugle?
Why do some bulls seem to have a lazy bugle? Because they're tired? I don't know. The times I've heard it, it's like they're bedded, they're just wore out, and you hear them, like just all they can do to muster up a bugle that day. And that's been my experience. I can't say why it is, but usually the ones I've found in their beds are the ones that seem to give it pretty weak little attempt. So, what do you look for when hunting elk on the prairie? Elk. No, really. I look for the best feed. It depends on the time of year. Again, I don't hunt elk on the prairie much differently than I do in the mountains. I just know that in the prairie, usually they're going to have limited entry seasons because they're far more vulnerable in prairie environments than they are in mountain environments. But I still use my 5 calendar periods. Am I hunting early, pre-rut, peak rut, post-rut, or late season? And respond accordingly. Oh, Michael, this is amazing. You know, we're doing this here at this hotel. I think this was working out pretty good.
What's your best advice for a new elk hunter?
Best advice for a new elk hunter. We've done tons of videos on this on our Elk Talk series. I don't know that I have any best advice. Most of it's probably going to be mental. Know that public land bull elk hunting is tough. It is not easy to do. Set your mind that this is going to be a challenge. This is going to be difficult. You know, if I think it's this hard, well, it's probably that hard. So think that it's going to be this hard. So if it's only that hard, it seems great. And the other piece of advice I'd give is learn as much about elk and elk behavior as you can, because once you know their behavior, you know what their needs are. If you know what their needs are at a certain time of year, you know where you'll find them. Where you'll find them is where they go to satisfy that primary need. So that'd be my best explanation. Let's see. We got anything that we just can't do without here? What is my favorite place to hunt? Wherever I have a tag. Right now, my favorite place to hunt is Wyoming. Next week, my favorite place to hunt will be Arizona. So, but anyhow, folks, we appreciate you chiming in. We're going to have a technology challenge next week, but I think we're going to be able to pull it off. We're going to try. We're going to throttle down our Broadcaster Pro to its lowest stream setting, so then you don't get the stagger and the buffering problem. And we're going to try to do this strictly from phones. We've been working on it and tweaking it, and we'll see. Hopefully we can do it. But, someone says, when does my apprenticeship begin? Byron wants to know, or Brian. Your apprenticeship? Well, my truck needs clean. My lawn needs its final bit of care before winter. Let's see. There's all kinds of things that need to be done. The dog kennel needs cleaned. The shop needs reorganized. You don't want to be an apprentice for us. Michael back there behind the camera is our newest employee. He's looking for an apprentice. He wants us to get an apprentice so that he can get relieved of, you know, it's kind of like in the NFL, they make the rookies carry all the bags and everything else. Everything is Michael's fault. He's really good about it, but we tell all of our guest hunters when they show up, you have to understand no matter what goes wrong, it's the camera guy's fault. And the guest hunters look at you like, what? I'm like, just trust me. Blame it on the camera guy. So that's what would happen. So if we had an apprentice, man, that'd even be below the lowest rung on the new employee scale, Michael. Michael's like, bring it on. We need one. But anyhow, folks, thanks for watching. Sorry we had to miss last week, but I hope you'll excuse us because we were out hunting elk in a super cool spot, the Wind River Range of Wyoming, and we did kill an elk, and you're going to get to see it on TV. So remember, If you're going to follow us along, you want notification of this, text Randy to 313131. Big thanks to Bowtech, Leupold, Onyx, Tight Spot, Ripcord, Black Gold, and the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation for making this possible. And thanks to you for watching. Hopefully that worked. How long before shooting an episode to time it is produced to available to watch? To available to watch. To available to watch. To available to watch.